So, hey lab rats, I'm Tom Nanda from the Metal Lab, and tonight in my company we have metal presenter, artist, and DJ Krusher Joules. Hi Krusher, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Hi there, Tom. You okay, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. For anyone who doesn't know Krusher, obviously there's people from all around the world. Can you just give people a bit of an insight to what you've done for the metal scene?
Oh God. Well, I used to be the art director of Kerrang when it was a good magazine between 1983 and 1993, and not the pile of shite it is now. We are allowed to swear on here, are we?
Of course.
Yeah. I've done album covers for Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Gary Moore, Hawkwind. I've worked with Motorhead, ACDC, Girls' School, you name them, Robert Plant. I've been on tour with Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath on the Ozfest. I used to do the Monsters of Rock over here as the DJ compere in the late or the early 90s. And yes, I'm done a lot for rock.
So you've worked with many artists and bands. So what was your actual first introduction into metal?
Well, we never used to call it metal. We used to call it rock.
Yeah.
And I mean, the first, what I considered to be quite a hard rocking track was a track by, it was called Sabre Dance by Love Sculpture. It was a guy called Dave Edmunds. It came out in the 60s. It's an instrumental based on a classical, I think it's a Khachaturian. I could be wrong. It's based on a classical piece of music. And it got into the top 40. And I remember lying in the bath listening to, well, it wasn't the top 40 back then, it was a top 20, listening to the top 20 in the bath. And this track came on. It was like, yeah, that's great. And yeah, Dave Edmunds, you should check him out. He's a legend.
So thinking about the 80s, where you had bands like Motorhead, Weapons, Sparta, and Maiden, this was like the start of the new age of British heavy metal. Yeah, can you take me back to your memories and tell me how much the metal scene had changed in the 80s?
God, that's it's hard to answer that. I mean, I just, I mean, it never seemed to change. It just seemed to, the different bands would come along.
Yeah, I mean, like the evolution from the 70s to the 80s, the sort of the sound.
70s, you had, your Deep Purples, Nice, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, all the 70s rock bands. And then in the 80s, as you say, you got the new wave of British heavy metal. Iron Maiden, Saxon, Tank, Diamond Head, all of those.
Weapon, they toured with Motorhead, didn't they?
Yeah, they toured with Motorhead on the Ace of Spades tour.
Yeah, I know them very well. Why do you think there was such an explosion in the new wave? Do you think it was just because obviously the sound was so raw and pure, or?
I honestly don't know, to be honest. I mean, it's maybe there's a lot going on, late 70s with all the punk coming out, and I think it's just a lot of a generation of people who loved their 70s rock, who were old enough to actually start to form their own bands, and they did, and that's a lot of them were very successful, especially Iron Maiden.
Do you remember seeing the new army of new wave fans, obviously wearing the cut-off shirts and the patches and stuff? And were you one of them fans?
No, I never wore I used to wear a denim jacket, but I never put patches on it. Well, I had T-shirts, used to wear band T-shirts and stuff like that. But no, I was just a jeans and denim jacket. I got myself a biker leather jacket at some
Cool.
point. You know, later on in life when I could afford it, got myself a decent pair of leather trousers. And well, I got a couple of pairs of leather trousers. I got 3 pairs of leather trousers, to be quite honest.
So in your career, you've created some amazing artwork. I mean, I've seen a lot of it, and it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. What is your favourite all-time piece that you've ever done?
Uh, well, the one that I really didn't like to start off with, of course, was the Born Again one for
Yeah,
Black Sabbath. But I actually
yeah.
love that piece now,
Mm.
and it's the one that is the most talked about, to be quite
Yeah.
honest. I mean, Aussie Diary of a Madman, that was a cracker. Speak of the
Yeah.
Devil, Bark at the Moon. I didn't really have, you know, I just did the
Mm.
hand lettering and the layout of the inner sleeves, and that was a pretty easy one. But yeah, I don't really have a favourite, but I suppose the one I come back to more often than not is the Born Again, which I exploited because I got ripped off mercilessly
Yeah,
on the merchandising rights, and so I've tried to make a few bob out of it over
of
the
course.
years. But I changed it slightly. You wouldn't actually know to look at it, but you have to
Mm.
change it very slightly so you don't get done for copyright.
Yeah,
If those miserable bastards ever decided they wanted to sue me. But it's not the band; it's the management, and
yeah.
thank God the management that they had at the time, uh, the arsehole's dead, and good
So
fucking.
let's talk about the Power Hour. Um, Obviously that was the first terrestrial UK TV rock show. And then
Yeah,
it had a few name changes. And then it eventually became Noisy Mothers.
yeah. It,
Now, I understand that you didn't like the name Noisy Mothers.
no, I thought it should be called Watch with Noisy Motherfuckers.
Oh, right, okay. So whose idea was it to call it Noisy
I have no
Mothers?
idea. To be honest, I have no
Right.
idea. I was just asked if I wanted to do it and went in because I'll tell you the story. Try and keep it short, but Power Hour. Um, it was Nicky Gruca. Well, there was someone else that did that. Power had quite a change of staff, but I remember when it was Nicky Grucock and Dante Benuto. He was working for Kerrang, sort of the same time as me. He was the assistant
Hmm.
editor, and Dante, I think, was doing it for a while, but he was a very busy guy, and he asked me if I'd, step in for a couple of shows, which I did, and then I kind of got a bit of a more permanent basis in it. And then
Yeah.
they changed the name to Raw Power because Kerrang's rival, Raw magazine, which, oh God, that's a story and a half. Half the staff of Kerrang left to form this new magazine. And Power Hour went in conjunction with Raw Power. And because I worked for Kerrang, my services were no longer required. So they got that goddamn nemesis of mine, Phil Alexander, who looked exactly like me but sounded exactly not like me, to do Raw Power. And then I think Raw Power folded because it was
Mm.
shite. Well, no, it wasn't shite. It was a decent magazine, but Kerrang at that time it was the Bible of metal and
It
rock.
was, yeah.
And then when Raw Power went, they just changed the name to Noisy Mothers and asked me if I wanted to come back. And I said, yeah, if you give me a pay rise for having that wanker take my place.
Okay, so let's talk about Crusher today. Okay, so you're semi-retired now?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah,
I do the odd
semi. Yeah,
festival.
yeah. But I
Uh,
see you like your photography. Is that something that you really enjoy now?
I used to enjoy it. It was a place where I lived last.
Hmm.
It was like a country's rock star mansion, and I lived in. It wasn't a rock star. It was a lovely old couple that lived there, but they let me rent out their converted barn, and I only had to walk 20 yards in either direction to get a
Right.
beautiful sunset or a sunrise. But where I live now, I'd have to go out in a car and drive around, and that's too much like hard work for me. So I might do it next year. I don't know. I'll have a look.
Yeah, you take some really good photographs.
Well, I've taken some good photographs. I haven't taken any for
Mm.
best part of almost 2 years now. All the photographs you see are pictures that I've taken over the last, well, from sort of 2011 to 2018. Yeah. And I've
Yeah, they're
got,
really
I
good.
mean, I've got bloody thousands of sunrises and sunsets, so I can keep those going for quite a long time. I used to do a calendar, but this year I've not had a chance to do it for various reasons. But yeah, I normally do a calendar. I only do 250 of them, and assign, and everything I do is limited edition.
Yeah.
I assign and number it. You know.
Yeah, I've got one of your T-shirts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, at the moment I'm doing Christmas cards.
Okay.
They're coming out. Well, coming back from the printers soon. I'm also doing a coronavirus survivor sweatshirt, which
Okay.
which is using the born again baby, but with the
Face
the face
Yeah.
mask. But I'm only doing 100 of those, and I've already sold almost 80.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. So watching obviously people like you growing up, obviously, you corrupted my youth, and
Proud of it as
you
well.
you were a massive influence on what we wanted to achieve at the Metal Lab. Bringing the underground metal and the bands to the forefront.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give me or anyone else who wants to keep promoting metal in this day and age?
Oh God. You do ask some hard questions. Well, just keep on doing it. Look out for great bands. I mean, I've just discovered they're not metal, but they're I suppose prog rock, pump rock. Cats in Space.
Yeah, I've been watching you on stream. Yeah,
Their fourth album, Atlantis, which is about to come out, I think in about a week's time. I mean, fuck me, it's just a masterpiece of every great rock band you can think of from the 70s, all thrown together in a bucket, stirred around, and poured out with some absolutely brilliant songs. And to be honest, I haven't listened to rock music for a long time, or new rock music, because I'm sad to say that a lot of the time I just go, I'm sorry, but I've heard that before. And it's generally the case of I'm not being disparaging to bands. I encourage bands to carry on and do what they want to do. But because I'm old and I've been there, and I've seen thousands and thousands of gigs over the years, and it's very hard to actually make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up anymore, or
find something unique
for my ears to go, well, I haven't heard that before, because normally I have heard it before. And it's so difficult. It's all music, every genre of music, it's hard to create anything new, because what is it? It's only so many chords and so many notes that you can throw around. But occasionally something comes out that knocks me for six, and I like that. But I don't go out of my way to listen to, or to encourage people to send me anything to listen to anymore. I mean, back in the Noisy Mother's day, I used to have boxes of stuff coming through that I would listen to, and that's what would be on the cosmic couch when I'm throwing out the CDs. But I just don't have time to do that anymore. Well, I do have time. It's just that I don't want to do that anymore. There are people like you should be doing it. I should sit at home drinking myself stupid, and
watching me making an ass of myself. Yeah,
Well, no, not making an ass of yourself. Doing what doing a good thing, promoting
yeah.
other bands,
We're
promoting
trying
more.
to, bring the underground scene to the forefront as much as we can because I think that's the future of metal. You know,
Well, what
so
bands do you recommend to me to listen to?
there are loads in our group. We have all different. We've got a band called Ashbourne. They're very heavy, but as you said, you probably listen to them, and then
Oh,
you
no,
know
no, no. As I say, I haven't listened to anybody in a
we have a
long.
lot of South African bands as well. So like, I'm wearing a band called Truth Decade.
Right.
So they're from South Africa. The South African metal scene at the moment is it's just exploded. So Imperious Visions. There's another one there. I
It's
mean,
good.
in South Africa, their metal scene is just so heavy,
I mean,
and we run weekly on the Monday. I don't know if you've seen. We have a battle of the band segment. So we put two bands against each other.
right.
And we've had all that from South Africa, Colombia. We've got bands from all over the globe,
Right.
so it's
Excellent.
really cool. I mean, I can send you some recommendations,
No,
over.
don't. No, not big. No,
Yeah,
I, I've, I'm terrible. I won't listen to it.
no,
I'll listen to 30 seconds and go, oh, fuck, I've heard that before.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, the hairs haven't stood on. Yeah, that's it.
I'm not coming across as a very nice person now, am I?
You're just the usual crusher that I always know.
Yeah.
So, okay. How do you think social media has impacted on obviously yourself? Because I know that you never used it in the early days, but
Well,
obviously
I
now
only
you're
use
getting.
Facebook. Apparently, I am on Instagram and Twitter.
Hmm.
But one, I don't know how to use Twitter. I've been on it about 2 years.
Yeah,
Don't,
yeah, you're not a bird.
I have
Yeah.
no idea how it fucking works. And I'm on Instagram as well, apparently, but I go on there occasionally just to see
Hmm.
how many people like me. And apparently, it's about 1,300 at the moment. So,
Wow.
and I've only put about 6 pictures up there, so that's all right. Yeah, I mean, social media has more or less killed the music industry,
Yeah.
as far as the record companies are concerned, uh,
Hmm.
because you can make an album in your bedroom now and stick it up onto Apple Music or whatever, Spotify, whatever it
Yeah.
is. But again, I don't really listen to any of. I mean, Apple Music, occasionally I'll go on
Hmm.
there and see what's new. I listened to the new ACDC album today.
What do you think of that?
Sounds like every other fucking ACDC album.
Exactly. Yeah, it's never changed over the past
It's,
20 years,
I
has
just,
it?
you know, I, it's great that they're still doing it, but I
Yeah.
honestly, it just sounded exactly the same. And I know that's never going to change. Why change the bloody formula now? And it'll
A bit like Metallica. Yeah.
sell millions. Well, maybe
Yeah.
Metallica do different. They try different things.
Hmm.
That thing with Lou Reed didn't go down particularly well, but
No, it didn't.
yeah,
No.
but and but yeah, no, I mean ACDC. But don't get me wrong, I fucking love ACDC.
Hmm.
How can you not love ACDC? But I've got to admit that it just sounded like any other ACDC album I've heard in the last 20 years.
So that
Or
goes on to my next
almost the
question. So
last, hang on,
if you could
80.
choose your all-time favorite song, what would it be?
Fucking hell. Um,
Another hard question.
we'll meet again, Vera Lynn. No,
Wow.
no, I'm fucking joking. Christ. I don't really have a favourite song, to be quite honest.
No, not one
Uh,
that sort of sets you. I think,
mm,
oh my god, that's so brilliant.
uh, nah, not really.
Mhm.
I suppose Cowboys from Hell, when you get to
Hmm.
hear that, that's a cracker. But
It's very good. Yeah.
yeah, a lot. I mean, I like a lot of Strapping Young Lad.
Hmm.
The first album, Heavier Than a Heavy Thing.
Yeah.
Can't remember the name of the first track. Fuck me, that was a fucking killer. But that whole album's a fucking killer album. I love anything that Devin Townsend does, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's Strapping Young Lad or just Devin. Do you know, I mean, and again, this isn't metal, but it's the tracks I've been listening to the most recently are the Cats in Space tracks.
Oh wow, I'll have to check them out.
Well, it's just 70s. It's if you like 70s rock,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
do. Yeah.
it's well, you fucking. I mean, if you like Queen, fucking hell, you know some of their fucking choruses and guitar solos on that. It's pure Queen. It's pure everything. As I say, they've chucked it all in a bucket, given it a stir, and just produced this fucking amazing album. I mean, there's a track on there, Fell Out of Love with Rock and Roll, and the title track, Atlantis. Both of those have choruses that are just, you know, those are what I call stadium choruses. You know, when you saw Queen, you know, with 100,000 fucking people doing Radio Gaga or just joining in on the chorus. That's what those two songs remind me of. And I hope the Captain Space actually do it because they deserve to do it. But unfortunately, I won't mention their name, but the biggest British rock station totally ignores them.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. But then again, that fucking rock station, I only ever listen to it about once a year when I go to some mates at Christmas, and they never seem to change their fucking playlist. It's always the same bollocks.
What are you drinking tonight?
I'm drinking Burnt Out Wreck cider.
Lovely.
There's a band called Burnt Out Wreck. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, I haven't.
Well, they sent me some cider. They're an excellent band.
Oh, God. Always excellent when they send you a drink, yeah.
Medium cider, apple and pear juice, pure sugar, and a sulphate trace, and it's 6%. And yeah, do you remember a band from the 80s? Well, again, probably new wave of heavy metal, Heavy Petting. Heavy Petting. Well, it's Gary, the drummer, Gary Moat. This is his new band, Burnt Out Wreck, and he was the drummer with Heavy Petting. And it's very nice cider, brewed just round the corner from me in Herefordshire.
Oh, right, lovely. A lot of the new wave heavy metal bands are coming back now. There's a big resurgence.
Well, next, I'm doing a gig at KK Steel Mill next March with Diamond Head, Rock Goddess, Tigers of Pantang, and there's a fourth band. Yeah, which is, you know, it's all just new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah. I interviewed Satan's Empire a couple of months ago. They toured around in the 80s. And hopefully we'll be going to see Millennium and Troyan and bands like that. So that'll be pretty cool.
Hopefully when, you know, we can go and see bands again.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, that's all fucking... And again, I feel so sorry for the fucking industry because it's dying on its feet at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, no gigs. Music venues are not going to survive this. And from what I'm hearing, that bands, I'm talking about fucking big bands like, you know, and not rock bands, but, you know, your Madonnas and Justin Biebers and Coldplay, you know, all the people that had tours that were supposed to be happening this year who cancelled them for next year have now cancelled them for next year, for 2022. Wow. And I'm also hearing that no American rock metal bands are planning on touring the UK in 2021, which means that all the festivals will be fucked. You know, Download, Bloodstock, you know, because, you know, a lot of it, Bloodstock, you know, they have I wouldn't say they're so much dependent on American bands, but Download definitely is dependent on American bands. And I mean, if no one's, you know, planning to tour the UK next year from America, then they're fucked.
Well, it might give a flip side for some of the underground bands to maybe, you know, showcase their skills and.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Bloodstock will. Again, now Bloodstock, I love Bloodstock. I do a bit of MC there, and that's where see a lot of bands, you know, especially in the Sophie Lancaster stage.
Yeah.
You know, I see a lot of bands that I've never heard or seen before, or have heard of and never seen. And yeah, that's a great place where I check out, see things that I like.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just make that the last question. So before we go, is there any shout outs or anything that you would like to promote?
Well, I mean, if you're interested in any of my Crushmas cards, there's
You already gave me a birthday card, yeah, so that was
yeah,
cool.
my birthday
Yeah,
card, yeah, the COVID-19 birthday card.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, if anybody wants to message me, you know, on Messenger or you know, Krusher Joule, and say you're interested in what is it, sweatshirt, birthday card, or Crushmas cards, and I'll send you the details.
I can drop a few links anyway under this
No,
post.
don't worry about
No?
the links, because
Mhm.
I kind of try to keep it as low key and personal as
Yeah.
I say. I've only got about 20 of the Christmas cards and the
Mhm.
sweatshirts left, so you know, and I've still got quite a bit of time. I don't get them back from the printers till the end of the month, beginning of December, so you know, I've still
Yeah.
got time to get rid of that extra 20. But anyway, um, but yeah, that's really it. And you know,
Okay.
and
Well,
thank you
thank
very
you very
much.
much for your time tonight, Crusher.
Thank you, and keep
It's
on
been
doing
such
what
an
you do.
inspiration speaking to you.
No,
It really has.
thank you, and yeah, you're doing a good job there, and
Thank you very
you know,
much.
I'm glad that people are. And you know, as again to say, when I go to Bloodstock and see the
Mm.
enthusiasm in people there, you know, promoting young bands and new bands, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
people. You know, I know there's a lot of stuff that's going on around the country where people are doing that, and I seriously salute you.
Thank
But I'm
you.
old now, you know. My days of doing that are over. I've got a bad foot and a bad leg, and you know I can't walk around like I can't even dance anymore. Certainly can't go in the mosh pit. But keep on rocking hard, keep on rocking heavy, and keep on rocking animal.
Thank you very much, Crusher. Stay
Okay,
safe.
a pleasure. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye
Bye.
bye.